In a recent video, I showed off KICKER's new Solo X 8-inch subwoofer. Check links in the video description if you want to see that video. I just unboxed the sub, talk about the features, the specifications, and all that. But today we want to put it in a box and find out how it sounds. Is it possible this one 8-inch sub can sound as good as 4 12s from the quad box? We will find out, my friends. Checking the KICKER page for the Solo X8, they recommend a .88 ported enclosure for the Solo X8. Now, in order to get a box, we could head down to our local hardware store and sift through the wood here and find a 3/4 inch 4x8 inch standard MDF for around $50. If we wanted to go a little more fancy, we could get sanded plywood, $65. But you know what? Not everybody has a wood shop to be able to work on a box like this, not to mention the tools required. And don't forget the amount of time it takes to put together something like this. Not everybody has the spare time. Well, we took the easy route and looked on eBay and found a 8-inch square KICKER enclosure for $79. That's right. Incredibly priced here. This is not specific to the Solo X8. However, when we read the specifications, it is 1 cubic feet in size and also tuned to 39 hertz, which is exactly or close enough to what KICKER recommends for the Solo X8. Just a few days later, UPS man drops it off. Let's unbox it and find out what it looks like. Couple things right off the bat. You'll notice it does have the truck bedliner coating to it, which is nice. It is missing the terminal for some reason, but that's not a problem because we actually pre-ordered some terminals I'm going to show here in a second. I prefer the push style terminals, which is what KICKER uses on a lot of their speaker boxes. Ordered a pair here for $7.50. I'll leave a link in the video description below if you want to check those out. I did want to use 2 terminals because this is a dual voice coil subwoofer, and in order to be able to wire it externally, I want to go ahead and have 2 different mounts here on the outside of the box. So again, I got 2 of these terminals. Of course, there's one hole cut out, but we will try another one. But first, I want to try and see if the speaker actually fit in the enclosure. And guess what? The enclosure was not specified to fit the Solo X8, so I wasn't sure. I thought I might have to make a front panel and create my own opening, but apparently it does fit, no problem. As far as the box dimensions, 20 inches by 13 by 10 inches, and yes, it has mega bass. As I mentioned before, the Solo X sub does have a dual voice coil configuration, in this case dual 1 ohm coils. So again, I wanted to use 2 of these terminals. In order to go ahead and do that, I'm going to drill another 2-inch hole here, just trying to decide where I wanted to place the other terminal. And I think toward the front of the box made the most sense. So I got out my hole saw and got the 2-inch hole saw bit and made sure it did some measurements, made sure it's exactly right. So let's go ahead and drill that hole. Now hopefully this is the only time we let the smoke out of this enclosure.
Smoking!
Next up, I want to get some of the speaker gasketing foam that goes around speakers. That way we could put this around the terminal cup to keep air leakage to a minimum. Now I know that not everybody likes these type terminals and these aren't best for SPL situations, but these are what I wanted to use, so this is what I decided to use. Got them all wired up with the 12 gauge OFC speaker cable, so let's get this finished, get them mounted in the box, and get ready to put the speaker in. Next up, I wanted to pre-drill the holes for the subwoofer and also use these deck style screws to mount the woofer. These type screws do require a square type bit, but they usually come with it in the box. And here we have the Mega Bass L7X Solo X subwoofer box for the 8-inch sub. Again, I wasn't sure this box was going to work. I thought I was going to have to make a baffle for the front and make my own mounting hole, but it does fit perfectly, and it is the correct size. I just had to add me another hole here for the additional terminal. You don't have to do that. I just wanted to do it so I could wire the sub how I wanted to on the outside of the box. But overall, very impressed. For the price, looks very good. Speaker fits good. Now let's move on to the Wilson Audio Labs and check out the subwoofer here. Take a closer look. You can see how small it is. It's a tiny thing. And we'll spin it around so you can get some of the beauty shots and see what this box looks like. Again, this truck bed coating looks very nice, very durable for this particular box. But we also want to do one thing we forgot to do earlier. Let's put on the scales and find out how much it weighs. So inside the box, it's under 50 pounds, 48 pounds, 9.5 ounces, or 22 kilograms. Next up, we'll get the subwoofer wired up along with the satellite speakers so we can do some listening tests. Now, off camera, I did some extended listening to break in the subwoofer to make sure it's all good to go. And of course, we're going to wire it up here in series, which gives this dual 1 ohm sub 2 ohms to the amplifier because we don't want to wire it to half an ohm. Now also in a previous video, I did show off the KICKER LX1200.5 amplifier. This is new for 2025. So today we're going to use this. We're only going to use 2 of the channels here for the satellite speakers. And then we're going to use the subwoofer channel obviously as well. And then we're going to show you the cool display that comes with this amplifier. Then we're going to find out if it bumps. Here's a very cool remote display here for the amplifier, which allows you to do all the settings. And we'll go ahead and go through the modes here, but I will show you that I do have it set for 15 hertz to 80 hertz for the sub and 75 hertz high pass for the mids and highs. So go ahead and grab your quality headphones so we can take a listen to find out what the Solo X8 sounds like. The reason I went around the back of the box here because I was noticing some port noise. Hopefully that won't be a problem while it's in the car. Let's go ahead and get this box inside the 2001 Toyota Sequoia, which is a huge full-size SUV. And this box looks tiny in the back. Let's get it wired up though. Again, 2 ohms for the amplifier. We're going to be using a Down for Sound 5-channel amp here for the test. And you can just see here how little of the back of this Sequoia is taken up by this tiny L7X 8-inch sub. We have the Big Wizzy Bass of Halloween by Vasotronics. And we got the other camera back there, so let's watch it flex a little bit. What you see? Of course, we have to try the woofer test. Alright guys, so placing the kicker box here is obviously not the best place for SPL. Probably needs to be corner loaded back here in the back, or either facing the rear here of the vehicle. So just for fun, I'm gonna try a couple of tests. You can see how small this box is in this hatch. I mean, it takes up literally no room. It would fit with the third row easily and still have room for groceries and stuff. So this is not gonna replace the quad box by any means, but just for fun, we're gonna try it out and see what kind of SPL we can get. First test, I'm gonna try it corner loaded here on the driver's side. Of course, the port is over there, so it's probably gonna be better for the port to be facing toward the back. But anyway, we're just gonna try it out and see. The JL audio sub here in the stealth box is not gonna be active for these tests, even though it wouldn't matter because it would not add anything. But let's try it out and see what we get. First test here in the Sequoia. Again, SSA meter in the kick, connected Bluetooth to the phone. Here we have the amplifier remote. You can see 13.8. This Sequoia doesn't charge very high. But anyway, we're gonna do the first test here at around 47 Hertz. And I had some people comment about this thing saying 86 dB. It doesn't read anything really less than that. So that's why you're not seeing anything less than that, but I will reset it before I start the test.
Flex the vibe, a windshield crack, an expensive prize, but it's worth every penny, all cents aside. What's
all right, here we go, test one. All right, no clipping from the 500 watt amp, but 125.78 dB at 47 Hertz. You might have noticed we dropped to 11 volts. Yeah, I need to beef up my electrical in here. It's really bad. But let's give it a little bit more juice here and try it again.
from you is the checks aside. Better check the signs, put some checks aside. We've got sun down on MVX inside.
Here we go, attempt number 2. Here we got over 126.41 of this huge Sequoia. Again, voltage was low. You guys may have noticed in previous tests with the quad box, I've been using lower power amplifiers because that box is very efficient. This box is not, but it's very small. So we need a little bit more electrical to be able to run a bigger amp to feed this subwoofer what it needs, but still impressive for this tiny box inside of this huge SUV. I've turned the box so that the port is facing the rear here and the sub is facing here. Maybe it'll couple the side better, you know, use this as a passive radiator for extra bump. But anyway, let's try it again and see what we get.
DB club feel blessed for mine. 150 is the goal, I confess my crime. As long as I'm breathing, I'm a stretch.
All right, corner loaded sub, let's try it out. As you can see, it did better, 127.07. Again, I could probably spend all day moving this box around the back here, you know, to get better SPL numbers. But really just the impressiveness is this would give you the bass that you needed in a vehicle this big with only like 400 watts, and you're not taking up hardly any space. And that's the benefit of having an inefficient woofer like this in a small box, is that you can get some bass and don't have to have a big box, but you do need to have a bigger amp. Let's talk about the pros and cons of this 8-inch sub with the Enclosure. First up, it's a very small footprint, as you saw. It is wife and girlfriend approved because it fits in the vehicle without taking up all the space. Surprising amount of bass output from an 8-inch sub in a small box. It's inexpensive. That's right, it's under $80 shipped, or about $85 shipped actually. Very easy installation. Just mount the driver, wire it up, you're good to go. What things that could be better? Of course, it needs more power in this situation. Also, a second sub may be required for some people who want a little bit more bass. And it's not quad box bass by any means. And the box may not be adequate because it's 5/8 inch MDF. It's not 3/4 inch. And the box came without a terminal. I think that was just a mistake from the manufacturer, but not a big deal. Now, if you include the price of the box and the woofer and the extra terminals and everything, we're a little over $500, which is not cheap. But again, you're getting a lot of bass here in a small package. Even this Enclosure, which wasn't specifically designed for the Solo X8, turned out pretty good. Off camera, I demoed a lot of different types of music, and I must say I really enjoy the type of bass I heard from this sub. Also, we have some new t-shirts available. Check links in the video description if you want to pick one up. Thanks as always for watching. Smash me a thumbs up. Make sure you're subscribed. Till next time, this Big D, I'm out of here.